I'm now happy to introduce Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer.
Well, thanks. It's an honor and privilege to have a chance to be here, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time. I probably should say it's an exciting thing to finally be here, and that's probably all I'll say about the past, but we couldn't be more excited to be doing this launch, this introduction of, by far, I would say, the largest wave of products we've ever kicked off, and all anchored around the most significant releases that maybe we've ever done, and certainly we've done since 1995 of our two flagship products, Microsoft Windows, the Windows Vista release, and Microsoft Office 2007. Each of these products sort of, if you will, finds new ground in a variety of ways. Today we're kicking off what we call the business launch of these products. They'll be available to consumers at the end of January. We'll come back and launch them for the consumer audience. And frankly, today we're going to talk some about the basic core products, but we're not going to talk about everything that's in these two products, because as we come back at the end of January, we'll talk to you more about some of the things that we're doing with software developers, some of the things that we're doing in the consumer market. And we're really going to focus today on kind of the basic meat of these products and all of the many additional products that we're bringing to market around Windows Vista and Office 2007. This is the biggest launch in our company's history, that's for sure. And frankly, I think these are the two most significant releases we've ever done of these flagship products in terms of the depth and breadth of functionality that's built in, the new scenarios that get enabled, both today, as I'll talk about on the business side, but in the consumer side as well as we move forward. We started, in some senses, with a world view about what's going on in business. And as I talk about Vista and we talk about Office 2007 in this context, it's probably important for you to understand kind of where the motivations were coming from. What were we thinking were the key things that customers were trying to get done, and therefore what were the key trends we needed to really factor in. Certainly the world's changing. Organizations are far more transparent, if you will, and distributed than ever before. It's hard to decide kind of where a supply chain ends and where a company begins. Companies are more physically distributed than they've ever been before, and IT and certainly what we do with information needs to extend across company boundaries and across geography in a variety of new ways. People suffer from information overload. There's no question about that. When you do the kinds of panels that we do with end users, particularly business end users, the amount of information that people feel flooding over them, emails, voicemails, IMs, news feeds, alias distributions, there's certainly a number of factors, and people are saying, look, we want to be in control of our information, we want to be in control of our lives, and we really want to be able to work with this stuff flexibly and fluidly with everybody we see around the world. We talk about a concept that we call the people-ready business. And a people-ready business is really, in our mind, a business that recognizes very much that people are its number one asset, and say, how do we give people the tools they need to deal with the issues and to accomplish the goals of the organization? Everybody in most companies benefits by having proper tools and proper access to information to make better decisions. One of our lead customers for Windows Vista and Office 2007 is the oldest bank in the world, Monte dei Paschi di Siena Bank. They claim they banked Christopher Columbus, and before he came to America, I don't know, can't tell you, but I was with the CEO, and he was explaining to me exactly how, even in their branch environment today, arming the teller, if you will, with better information is a job one priority. And I asked, why is that? He said, well, as we've moved to call centers and ATMs and internet banking, we've taken all of the simple transactions out of the branch. So now when somebody really walks into our branch, our people have to be prepared to handle complex customer service issues, Our people have to be armed with the right information to upsell those people exactly the right product. And in a people-ready business, and in the environment of information overload and more transparent organizations, giving people better tools to do their job is a bigger deal, I would say, today than ever before. And so as we've focused in on Office 2007 and what we're doing with Windows Vista and the wave of products around them, our focus has been on how do we simplify how people work together across the world, across organization. How do we make it easier for people to find the information and improve the insight that they get to take actions to reduce costs, sell more product, provide better customer service, design new products? In this world of Sarbanes-Oxley and increased regulatory issues, how do we help people better protect and manage information, particularly in a world in which company boundaries are much less secure, so to speak, from an information perspective? Managing information and content is more important today than ever before. And of course, there's the constant pressure in business to reduce IT costs and improve security. And those are, if you will, the pillars, I would say, of the people-ready business, but also the design pillars that we had in mind from a business customer perspective as we built Windows Vista and Office 2007 and the whole set of products that we will roll out starting today. So with this really as kind of the core proposition, 4 pillars, people-ready business, how does the launch come together? Start with upgrades to the basic products, Microsoft Windows and Office. At the end of the day, we have to start with the notion that every version of Windows and every version of Office has to make end users more personally productive. We have to improve the end user experience. That's a consumer phenomenon, that's a business phenomenon, that's every place. That is not restricted to the business customer. And at the end of the day, the first experience that everybody in this room and most people have with these products isn't going to be necessarily all of the new business value for the people-ready business. You're going to sit down and say, how do I like these products? Does the UI make me more productive? Can I get more done? Are there features here that help me do things that I care about in my personal life? And so in a sense, if you just evaluate how good are these upgrades as basic personal productivity tools of Windows and Office, I think they're phenomenal, and we're going to have a chance to show you that and talk about that a little bit more. And a lot of the dialogue, if you will, that we've had with folks has been primarily on that issue. And in fact, if I kind of read press coverage, investor coverage, a lot of the discussion sort of begins and ends with that point. And people miss the fact that there's this depth of other innovation that's coming on the back of and enabled by Windows Vista and Office 2007. We have upgrades to our flagship server products, our SharePoint server for collaboration, our Exchange server for email and communication. Both of those products get upgraded. We're not changing Windows Mobile at this time, but we think about it as another core part of the user experience and the personal productivity environment. Certainly for people who work, we think of it as a very important part of their overall now experience with the Microsoft family of products. In that framework, though, there's a bunch of additional innovation beyond the upgrade to the flagship products. We have new enterprise versions of both Microsoft Windows and of Microsoft Office, Vista Enterprise and Office 2007 Enterprise, with new capabilities that customers can choose. Some customers will remain with our business version of Windows, the so-called Pro version. Some people will choose the additional capabilities that you get in our enterprise versions. We also have enterprise versions of the new server products. So there's a set of new enterprise services for Exchange and a set of new enterprise services for Microsoft SharePoint. But in addition, we have a whole